There are books that entertain, and then there are books that unravel you. They don't ask for your time, they ask for your heart. Page by page, they lead you into quiet devastation, the soft kind, the kind that doesn't scream but lingers, like the echo of a farewell you didn't want to hear. In these pages, grief is a character, love is a ghost, and hope is a thread so thin you're afraid to hold it. These are the stories that leave you staring at the ceiling in silence, not because you didn't expect the ending, but because it found a place to live inside you. Hi everyone, it's me, Jess. I'm here to talk about some very miserable books in a very upbeat manner for Misery May. It's the third year of Misery May, a readathon hosted by the wonderful duo of Gemma at Gemma Books and Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. Every year I challenge myself to do a fun little intro. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you want to check out the last 2 years, I will leave them linked in the description box below. So I pulled a few books off of my shelves that satisfy this year's theme for Misery May, which is to read miserable books from around the world. The challenge is to read 6 miserable books from 6 different continents. I'm not quite sure if that's going to be a realistic goal for me for this month because I'm also judging for the BookTube prize, but I pulled from my shelves some books from different parts of the world that seem to be sad, miserable, dark, seem to fit the profile for Misery May. I should have probably put in a big alert in the opening of this video for trigger warnings for all of these books. Please look up the trigger warnings. Of course, for Misery May, there is going to be quite a bit of horrendous, horrible, dark, awful, traumatic writing. So please look up the trigger warnings before you pick up any of these titles. The book that I was holding in the intro is a book that I've read and talked about on my channel. I will leave a link to the review that I did of this book. I think it was back in 2021. It's The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Emezi. The Death of Vivek Oji tells the story of Vivek Oji, a really heartbreaking story. It's set in Nigeria. It's about identity. It will tear your heart to little shreds and leave them lying all over the place. So this would be a wonderful choice for the continent of Africa because the author is Nigerian. In terms of the books that I've chosen that I haven't read yet that are a pile of possibilities, I'm going to start with the Americas. I'm going to talk about a set of interconnected short stories that I've already spoken about in my last few videos. It's called Reservoir of Bitches. Apparently these stories are very dark, very difficult to read. Stories of different women in various different kinds of circumstances, experiencing oppression and violence and all kinds of horrible treatment. And so I've been wanting to read this since it was longlisted for the International Booker. I don't believe it made the shortlist, but I picked it up because I was curious about it, and this just might be the right time. Another selection from the Americas that I've been wanting to read for quite some time. It's a book that had a film adaptation made, and I've seen the film adaptation, but I've never read the book. It's a novel by Sapphire called Push. Push is the story of an illiterate 16-year-old girl, young woman named Precious Jones, who is raped by her father and has a mother who beats her and authorities who dismiss her as just one more of Harlem's casualties. Then Precious becomes pregnant a second time, and it's the second time she's pregnant by her father. She meets a very determined and radical young teacher, and we follow her on a journey of education and enlightenment as she learns not only how to write and become literate, but also begins to write about her life and how to take ownership of her life for the first time. So super dark, but also has a hopeful aspect to it. I've been wanting to read this for some time, adding it to my pile. Next, we're moving on to South America. This was recommended by Gemma in her video that announced the Misery May readathon. It's called Crooked Plow. Deep in the neglected hinterland of Bahia, Brazil, two sisters find a mysterious knife beneath their grandmother's bed. Momentarily mystified by its power, they decide to taste its metal. The shuddering of violence that follows marks their lives and binds them together forever. This I picked up because it was shortlisted last year for the International Booker Prize, and I'd heard a lot about it, and apparently it's quite dark. Another book from South America that's been languishing on my bookshelves for quite some time and I've been wanting to read is called The Twilight Zone. This one is set in 1984 at the height of the Pinochet dictatorship. This one is told from two different time perspectives. One in 1984 at the height of Pinochet's regime, and a decade later. It's told by our narrator, who is a documentarian and who remains haunted by the men who tortured people. So it's about torture under a dictatorship and potentially about how that could recur. I think it's probably going to be pretty twisted and upsetting, so it fits the theme entirely. Now we're going to move over to Asia. This is a book that I picked up not too long ago that I was considering reading for Women in Translation Month in August. It's possible I might pick it up before. The title is Woman Running in the Mountains by Yuko Tsushima. This is about a woman who is experiencing a pregnancy by herself, and it's the result of a brief affair with a married man. And it's described as being a source of sorrow and shame to her abusive parents. And I think that just is all we need to know. It satisfies this readathon's requirements of misery. So I've been wanting to read this. I don't know, it piqued my curiosity. I saw it in the bookstore, it piqued my curiosity, and I picked it up. So moving on to Africa, I had for a long time wanted to read A Spell of Good Things by Ayobami Adebayo. And Charlie had this on her TBR for Misery May, and it reminded me that I wanted to read this. It was on my list of FOMO books from not 2024, but actually 2023, I think. I haven't gotten to it yet. I think this is about two sisters, or a brother and a sister. I think it's about a brother and a sister. It's set in Nigeria, and I think it explores the big gap between the big gap between the have and the have-nots. I'm not sure how the stories go for each of the two characters, but the way that Charlie described it, it sounded sad. So I decided to add it to my pile. Another book that I picked up that I haven't talked about on my channel at all, which is about a woman, which is written by a woman from Somaliland, but who came to the UK at a very young age. So I think technically she's British, but it really piqued my interest because it's actually set in Wales in 1952. It's called The Fortune Men by Nadifa Mohammed, and it was a finalist for the Booker Prize. I'm sorry, I'm not sure which year. And it's about Mahmoud Matan, a young Somali sailor who is accused of a crime that he did not commit. Brutal killing of Violet Volak, a shopkeeper from Tiger Bay. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be, you know, a rollick. It's not going to be a rip-roaring fun time. It sounds like it's going to be political and about this innocent man being accused and potentially convicted of a crime he didn't commit. Fun times. So that moves us right into Europe. I actually don't have any Canadian selections, surprisingly, in my list. It moves us right into Europe. I was very curious about this book when I saw it in the bookstore as well. It's a Norwegian writer. Her name is Jenny Haval. The book is Girls Against God. This is set in a small town in Norway with white picket fences that run in strict rows and strict white Christian values run deep. And it's about a teenage woman who gives in to the allure of rebellion offered by the upstart black metal scene. Awful things happen in the book. So I think it could be pretty dark. The cover is, I don't know, that cover looks quite dark to me. I don't really know what I'd be in for with this one. And as most of you know, I like to go into my books a little bit blind. So yeah, this could be interesting. And then the next two books I know are going to be completely miserable because, of course, they're Irish books. Both of these I've talked about on my channel. before. The first one is Close to Home by Michael McGee. It's about a boy named Sean growing up in West Belfast, and he's doing everything that he's supposed to be doing. He works hard, he studies, he mostly stays out of trouble, and the conflict is over, and he feels the future is supposed to be very promising for him. But when he gets home from university, he finds everything to be much the same friends, going to the same clubs, same lost brothers, mad fathers, same closed doors, same silences, no jobs. It sounds bleak. So it's a portrait of working class Ireland under the long shadow of the Troubles, and I've heard that it's very, very, very good, but also bleak. And then the last book is a book that I've been wanting to read for a couple months. It's Nesting by Roisin O'Donnell. I don't think I need to say too much more about this one because so many people have been talking about it. It did not make it, I don't think it made it through to the short list of the Women's Prize, but it was long listed on the Women's Prize, or maybe it did. I'm not sure. It's about a woman who escapes an abusive partner with her 2 young children, and I'm sure it's going to be sad. Who knows what I will get to. As I mentioned, I am judging for the BookTube Prize, so this is taking priority, and I'm also reading Praiseworthy in a group along that I'm hosting on my channel. So I have quite a bit that I'm committed to, but the good news is that my semester is over this month. So I have a lot more time to devote to reading and making videos. I might even do a little reading vlog for Misery May. No promises. Thank you so much everyone for watching this video. If you just pick up one miserable book, you will be officially a participant in this read-along. Let me know in the comment section below what miserable books you're reading if you are participating in Misery May, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.